Good morning students. Welcome to Avyan IAS Academy. Today we will be taking up agreement of the verb with the subject in its second part. In our previous video lecture, we had discussed about some of the other rules that were used while learning the agreement of the verb with the subject. Today we'll go over with a few more rules. The first one is words joined by with or as are treated as parenthetical. That is, what do we mean by the word parenthesis? That is something that is bracket, something that as if something that is which comes within bracket. You might know from the mathematical calculation as anything that comes in the bracket is taken as one quantity together. So similarly in our language also, when we join the words by using as well as or with, we will treat it as a singular subject. For example, if we say gold as well as silver is expensive, we will not say are, but we will say is. Although we are talking about two different things, gold and silver, but it is joined by as well as, hence we will take them as one singular entity and will treat them as a singular object. So it's gold and silver, or gold and silver, or gold as well as silver is expensive. In the earlier classes we had dealt with while you are using the and in between. So in that also we would take a singular verb. Gold as well as silver is precious, or gold and silver is precious or expensive, whatever. And also when we are joining the words with, okay, she with her brother is present here. This also would take a singular verb. Since she and the subject and her brother would both be taken as a singular, as one single subject. In the next part we would come to another rule, that is when they say some nouns are plural in form but singular in meaning. For example, when we talk about the word dozen, when we say dozen, although dozen we know would take up in a dozen there are 12 units that we are talking about, or scores where we are talking about 20 units. However, also despite having a plural meaning, it would still be taking a singular word. That is for numbers. And also there are words like mathematics, politics, or news. For these words, all of this ends with a s, so we don't have a singular word for these. So every time we don't say a piece of new, we say a piece of news, or she's involved in politics, or I am good at mathematics. So whenever we are using these words, there are a few others also, whenever we are taking these words we would be using them as a singular form. The next rule, the third rule that we are talking about today, is the word pains and means can either be taken as singular or as plural. So this is a kind of laxity that we have for these words. For example, we can say both of this. For example, she has taken great pains to accomplish her work. So she has, here we are taking a singular form. When we mean the word means as a source of income, we can also say his means are meager, which means his means, which is like income, is less. We can use both is or are. We can use was or were, any singular or plural verb. This is the laxity that we get only for pains and means. For the next part, the collective noun is taken as one when it is united and is plural when it is taken as divided. For this rule, we will take up an example in which first I'll tell you about the singular part of the sentence, and in the next we will take up the plural part of the sentence, which is like the committee is united in their decision. So although we know that the word committee is not what the word committee means, that we have more than one people, that is why it's a committee of people. However, since they are united in their decision, that is their decision which comes as one, we will use the singular form of the verb. So here it's this like collective nouns. So the word committee is referring to a collective noun, and when we are talking about it as a united whole in their decision, we will take it up as a singular noun. However, if the case changes and it comes as the committee are divided on their reports. Whenever we are trying to talk about the sentence in a way that the committee here also refers to a group of people, is a collective noun, but they are divided on their opinions, right, or their reports. So here we will take as a plural verb, because whenever they are divided, we are not getting one opinion, we are coming out with multiple opinions, and hence because of this multiplicity of the reports or opinions that the committee is coming about with, we will take the form are. The next rule that we come to is plural nouns for common names which have a collective entity or unit would come as a singular noun. For example, what does this mean? The plural noun for a common name. So most probably by plural noun we could refer to a collection of a story or a collection of tales or anything that is a collective, yet has to be a proper noun. For example, the Arabian Nights is a tale of 1,000 stories. So here the Arabian Nights is the proper noun, which although we know is a collection of 1,000 stories. So there are multiple units of stories that we are taking at the same time. However, since it's a proper noun and a collection at the same time, we will be taking up the verb is a tale of 1,000 stories. This only happens because this is a proper noun. This wouldn't have happened if it was a common noun. Then, like every other rule, it would have followed a plural verb is preceded by a plural noun. The last rule that we come for today is with when plural nouns denote a specific quantity is treated as a whole or it is treated as singular. What does this mean? This also indicates towards the plurality of your collectives. However, we are specifically talking here about the quantity of something. We are talking about something that is quantifiable. For example, if we say 10 kilometers is a long walk. For example, 10 kilometers, we are already talking about it in plural terms. However, we are still using the verb as a long walk because we are treating the walk of 10 kilometer as one entity or unit. Hence, we are using the singular verb is. Another example could be 15 minutes of time is allowed to each participant. When we are taking 15 minutes, we know that 15 minutes already is indicating towards a plural amount, is a plural number. However, since the time of 15 minutes is taken together as one unit, we will be using a singular verb. 15 minutes of time is allowed to each participant because it is the time that is being allowed for each participant. Here the participant is a singular subject. So we have dealt with the remaining rules from our last class, and now we'll do a quick recap of all the rules that we did for today. The first rule that we did was the words which are joined by with or as well as will be treated as one singular noun. The second rule that we dealt was with the word pains or means can either take a singular form or can take a plural form. Both are right. You can use any of them accordingly. And the third rule that we dealt was with sometimes there are words which really do not have a singular noun or way of expressing them, and hence they are taken as one single whole. For example, when we use words like mathematics, politics, news, we will take them as a singular entity, and hence they will be written or spoken using the singular verb. Also, we talked about numbers like scores, dozens. Although they are in itself plural in their understanding, yet dozens or scores or some of number of this sort would be taken as one singular entity. The next rule that we took up was the collective nouns, when they are united in their actions, they would be taken up as a singular noun. For example, the example that we took was the committee is unanimous in its report. Since the committee is coming out with one report, although the committee is a collective noun and we have a number of people in the same community, we would still be using a singular verb. However, if the case changes and we do it as a community or a committee, any collection of people coming out with different opinions, whenever they are divided in their opinions, we will take it as a plural verb or a plural form. And the next rule was proper nouns, which are collections. In spite of them being a collective of something, we would still be taking them as a singular noun, but it only applies for proper nouns. Remember, does not happen for common nouns. It only happens for plural nouns. For your proper nouns, sorry. The next one is the plural noun denote the when they are used to denote a specific quantity or the time or distance, whatever, as a whole, like 10 minutes, 15 kilometers, 20 days, any of those, we would be treating them as a singular entity. So students, before we end the class, I am giving you a few sentences which you can try and see the correct verb form that you should use along with the sentences. The first sentence is 2 and 2 dash 4. So you have to either choose make or makes. I'm leaving these as a reference point so that you can try and fill these up. And maybe in the next class we could discuss the answers if you all want them. Each of the suspected men dash arrested. You can use either is or you can use are. 90 rupees dash too much for this bag. Is or are. Next, the last sentence that we are doing is neither his father nor his mother is or are alive. Oh, we could also maybe take up one more sentence. The cow as well as the horse either is or are up for sale. You can use either is or are. So you can try working out with these 5 sentences and then we can come back to our next class with the answers to this. Thank you.